Uh, in this video we'll be continuing with the C# tutorials. So we'll just talk about assignment compatibility for decimal variables. So if we have a decimal, so let's just define a few of them. So I'll just delete this stuff. Okay, so if we have a decimal, val 1, or just val, which points to some random number. So that's fine. So that works if we have another kind as well. So that can just point to either a decimal number with an M on it, or you can have just a decimal number that's an int. You can have a decimal, so you can have a decimal like this. That's basically like a double or a floating point number. You can have that without the M. The compiler will tell you that it's an error. You can't have you can't convert a double to a decimal without a cast. So you have to put on an M on here. Either capital or lowercase. You have to put an M on the end. Capital or lowercase, we'll learn about casting later on. Pretty soon. Actually, yeah, so I think we'll probably do that right now or coming up. So we have to, so we'll learn about casts. So what is a cast? A cast is a way to basically convert one type to another type. So let's just say you want to assign the contents of a double variable to an int variable. So you know that basically you just don't want to have loss of data. So you don't want to convert to a type that's too small. When your number is too large, you'll lose data. You don't also want to, basically don't cast if you don't have to. But if you really need to cast and there's no other option, then cast. So we'll do an example. So the C# compiler will not allow you to make the, basically you can't convert a double value to an int without a cast, because an int can't store those kinds of numbers. So you can use a cast operator, which is basically just a cast, to explicitly convert a value from one numerical data type to another. So even if the conversion causes a loss of data, it still works, but you don't want to do that, so that's why you have to be careful, because the compiler won't tell you that you're going to lose data. Well, actually it might. If it's a sophisticated compiler, it might give you a warning, but it's not going to give you an error. And most of the time, like, I just skip the warnings if it works. because often you'll get a lot of warnings. Just depends on the compiler. So the cast operator, what you cast is going to be the name of the desired data type. So basically the cast operator is the name of the desired data type. So if you want to cast it to like an int, then you cast to an int, so you put an int, so I'll show you guys in a sec. Let me just put my T down here. Okay, so a cast is the name of the desired type written inside parentheses and placed to the left of the value that you want to convert. So let's do an example. So I'll just delete that stuff. So we have a private. So if we have a private int val, then here we have a private double, val2. Actually, we'll initialize this one to 5.0. Now, if in the constructor we say so if we say val points to casted int to val2. So basically what's happening is we're saying, okay, well, val is a int, val2 is a double. We want to cast the, looks like the int is, the double is being casted to an int. You want to be careful with that. Because remember, an int can't store fractional parts. So here we have an int variable named val1, or just val. If I said val1, excuse me, I just meant val. So then we declare a variable named val2, which is a double, initialized with a value 5.0. Then for the final part, we have a cast operator to convert the value of val2 to an int, and it assigns the converted value to val1. So after the statement executes, which means the code will run, basically. The statement is, a statement is a line, usually this is a statement here. So the whole, so val1 variable is assigned the value 5. So this isn't the best example because my notes here don't actually tell you, which I'll tell you later on, or I'm basically telling you that if you have 5.2 here, you'll lose the data because int can't store the fractional part. So you have to be, sorry, I just hit the mic by accident, I think, if you heard that. Apologize. So if you have 5.2, then you're going to lose data. So you have to make sure yourself, because the compiler's not going to tell you. You may see a warning, like possible loss of data may occur. You may not always see that, so just be careful. because you could lose what you're trying to do. So basically we have a bunch of casts to do here. Just a bunch more examples, maybe 4 of them. So let's continue on with that. So we'll do a decimal example here as well. So let's delete these ones. So let's have another int val. We'll just say that's okay. We know that it's a whole number. We'll have a decimal so private decimal val2, or we could have m val points to some value. Actually, let's just go with this one. Actually, just for the purpose of this example, I'll try to keep the numbers small, so we'll just have like something like that. So we have private decimal m val points to that number with it. So remember, the decimal value has to have an m on the end. So then in the constructor, I think we need to do that in the constructor. We'll just try here. If we have val points to casted, I think it wants me to do it in the constructor, but if we have casted int to m val, it wants me to do that, and it wants me to do that in the constructor, so we'll just move that down here. It doesn't like declaring a variable and then initializing it all within the fields, the field data. It wants half of that to be done in the constructor. You can do it in one line, but if you continue, it doesn't like that in C#. So you have to so what we're going to do here is we're going to say val points to casted int to m val. So that means now val is going to point to m val casted to an int. So the converted value is assigned to the val, which is basically val is going to store the number 2000 in this case. Alright, so we'll move on to the next part. So we'll have another example. There's about 4 of them, so we'll do pretty much all of those. So this time if we have a double, so private double real number, not real number, we'll just go with That's just fine, we'll just go with val. So private double val points to, actually no, so we're just going to declare it first. And we'll say decimal mval points to some val. No, I do something wrong there. Oh, sorry, forgot private here. So private decimal mval points to some number. So private decimal mval, some number, so it stands for money because we have m. So we have some number with m, basically. Well, it doesn't need to be that, but I think that's what the m usually stands for. So then we'll have val. Actually, no, sorry, we have to do this in the constructor, so we'll go down here in the constructor, then val points to double casted to mval. So the cast is exactly like, pretty much exactly like Java. So it's just, you just cast it the exact same way. So it's, so here we have private double val points to cast it double to mval. That means this, this number is just gonna, so really it's gonna be storing this number here. Two, three, four, 5, 2, 5, 3. 3, 4, 5, 2, 5, 3. It's supposed to be the exact number as here. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 5, 3, 0.0. Because it's double will store it as a 0.0 number. Hopefully that makes sense. The last one might be a little complicated, but we'll just, actually there's two more I think. Two more casts and we're done with casts. So we'll have, we'll delete these ones here. You'll notice that you'll probably need to cast on the fly, like you'll not say, okay, I want to do this and cast it. That's probably not going to happen. You'll probably do something and notice the types don't work. You'll get an error, then you'll try to cast it to fix it. That could work. Just be careful, again, because you don't want to cause a bug somewhere. So here we'll have, so decimal mval declared, actually sorry, private. You have to either use public or private. Make them private if you can. Try to encapsulate your variables, which means basically make them secure. So we'll have here private decimal mval then we'll have a double val initialized to some number. Oh whoops, I forgot the private again. Okay. Private double val points to 4.0. So then here we'll say mval. Actually, sorry, this has to be in the constructor, which is here. So here we'll say, okay, we want to say mval points to casted decimal to, or decimal casted to the, or to val. So decimal casted to val. So what's going to happen here? We have a decimal declared, which basically is going to point to 0. Because when it's declared, it should be pointing to 0 automatically. In C#, a string points to null if you just declare it. So just be careful. So if we have mval points to decimal, actually, okay, so if we have mval which is declared, and then we have double, which is, so we have a double val and a decimal mval, which are private. And then we're saying, okay, we want to call mval, which points to decimal casted to a val, or casted decimal to a val, or to val. So we have val, which is 4.0. We'll read it left to right. So we have mval points to decimal casted to val, which in this case val is 4.0, so it should be 4.0m, I think. Just make sure that it works. Decimal is its own type, so you're not going to have used decimal before if you've already programmed. If you haven't programmed and C# is your first language, then you'll get used to it. But like for me, I'm coming to, I came to C# from other languages, so I haven't used decimal before, so there's like a new kind of thing. You have to have an M on it, and it's basically the largest type, numerical type. You have to, you'll get used to the cast, so you just have to play around with them. So just check for an error. If there's no error, you're fine. If there is, then just try to keep playing around with it till it works, and make sure you're trying that it works and it's not going to cause a bug. So here in this case, mval should point to 4.0m. So make sure, so you can always cause loss of data again, so be careful. Because if we're casting if we're going bigger, you could lose data, so just be careful. Actually, no, sorry, if you're going, you just want to make sure there's enough space. Actually, yeah, so if you're going smaller, I actually apologize for that, for confusing anyone. So if you're going from a double to an int, you could lose data, so just be careful, because an int, again, can't store fractional parts, and it's a lesser bit size, which means it holds less digits, so just be careful. So we'll do an example of a loss of data, I think, so we'll just, if you don't understand that, we'll just do one more here. Hopefully I'm not confusing anyone. So if we have an int val, oh yeah, private, sorry, private or public, so private val, you may need a public one, so actually let's just go with a public one. So we'll go with public int val. So we'll say, okay, we'll double val2. Let's go with dval. So probably, double dval points to some number. Actually, I have to make this a certain size, so we'll just go with like 4.0 again. So 4.0 Actually go with 4.9. So we have private double dval points to 4.9. Then if we go val points to, hopefully you guys can see all this though. Make sure you guys can see. So here if we have val points to casted int, or int casted to dval. Any warnings here? No. So here we have, maybe it's too big, so we have public int val constructors here. So public int val and then private double dval, so we have, so dval points to 4.9, so then we have val points to int casted to dval. So it's either going to round this, I think, let's see. So pretty much, I think it rounds it down. So we have, so remember a double variable contains a fractional number. When the cast operator converts the fractional number to an int, the part of the number that is after the decimal point is dropped. Okay, so it's dropped completely, it doesn't round up. So the process of dropping a number's fractional part is called truncation. Truncation. I think it's truncation. So we have dropping a fractional part of number is truncation. So after this line executes, the val1 variable contains the value 4. So the value val1 becomes 4, or just val becomes 4. So when a cast operator is applied to a variable, it does not change the contents of the variable. The cast operator just returns the value that is stored in the variable converted to the specified data type. So it's really just storing enough of it as it can, pretty much. So in the example we just did, when the int cast operator is applied to the val1 variable, the cast operator returns the value 4. The val1 variable remains unchanged. The dval variable remains unchanged. So the dval is 4.9, so dval remains unchanged, while the val variable is modified. It's really just storing as much as it can, so just be careful with that for any loss of data. Alright, so that'll conclude casting. Pretty much all the casting. So that should be all casting. If there is any more, we'll go over it. So thanks for watching, guys. If you guys liked the video, you can like and subscribe to the channel. for more programming investing tutorials, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.